Alright, our next playoff match begins here today. If you missed the last one, it was so good. I won't spoil it here, but Logi Swords and AI put on an absolute show for us in that first matchup of the Overbots playoffs. And our next matchup is going to include Rush Hour versus Moldy Milker. So once again, these are two teams that faced off in regular season, and I believe Moldy Milkers won that. I'm going to go check the score right now. I believe it was a 3-0. So once again, we have a matchup where Moldy Milkers are favored here. The Never Back Down itself is favored here. Let me go make sure that was a 3-0 score. I do know that they won. Moldy Milkers won. I can't remember what the score was. Let's look. Yeah, it was a 3-0. So Rush Hour gonna have to put something together. Gonna have to answer this question of, are they for real? Can they overcome the Giants in the Never Back Down division? Get Good division struggling here. If they do lose this, both teams from the Get Good division, the number 1 seed and the number 2 seed, will begin losers to start this tournament, meaning someone from Get Good is going home. It's been an excellent season, though, for Rush Hour, only dropping that match to Moldy Milkers, and you unfortunately get a first-round play against them, so that means your odds of winning this tournament go down a little bit. Did not want to face this team first. If anything, you would want AI to face them first, but unfortunately for the other two teams, AI can only face either Rush Hour or Logi Swords with the opening sequence as but AI is the only team that has proven to be able to beat this Moldy Milker squad. So it's just an unfortunate circumstance if you are in the Get Good division to have to go up against this team first, since it has not lost to any roster that is not named AI. Rush Hour, on the other hand, have not lost to any roster that has not been named Moldy Milkers. So just a rough first seed to get if you are on the side of Get Good here. However, Doomfist gonna feed a little bit here, and Ryan's being kept alive by his BAP, so excellent start here for Rush Hour. This is what you need to see more of if you want to get this series going. Like I said, you did lose 3-0 to them the last time you faced off against each other, which was a considerable difference to what was anticipated. So we're going to have another push coming through here for Moldy Milkers. They did get repelled in their first attack. This is a sibling rivalry too. This is Dash's team versus Chase's team. Two very solid squads all throughout the season. Doom going down immediately again. This is a good start here for Rush Hour. Had some questions going into this matchup. A team that has historically been very good against Rush Hour. Certainly struggling right now to get onto this Perisu first point. These hybrid maps have been very difficult for teams to push on, is something I've noticed in the playoffs. Midtown, very dominant by both AI and Logi Swords on defense. And here Rush Hour is starting this with a pretty dominant defense. So we'll have to see how the rest of the map goes. But so far they have not dropped a single soul. As you can see, the damage numbers speak for themselves. Rush Hour putting on an absolute clinic. Let me make sure. Yeah, yes, the bots are all on aimbot. Just making sure before we continue going. And I am recording. Alright. Here comes the Rhine. He's going to get countercharged by that Doom. Kind of distracting the tanks at the moment. Kiri's going to be the first to fall, though. Doom's going to go down second. And once again, Moldy Milker is getting repelled here. So a good start from Rush Hour for a team that did end up getting 3-0'd by this team the last time they went up against each other. Moldy Milker is just trying to come up with something here. Doomfist gonna be able to bait out that charge. However, he's probably gonna fall very quickly as he actually manages to live for a little bit, but I don't know if it's gonna matter. The Riptire does get destroyed. Ramattra still has this ult up. He does get taken down eventually though, and the full hold continues here. Only 50 seconds on the clock for Moldy Milkers, and you gotta be worried. All of a sudden, this team that you dominated in regular season is now flipping the script and almost full holding you on this first map. I wonder if this is a sign of what's to come in the series, or if what happened on Midtown will repeat itself. In that last series, we did see our first ever draw in Overbots, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure that was the first draw we've seen, though. Oh my gosh, what a pin by the Rhine. The backwards reversal pin onto the Doom to finish him off, and this is going to be a full hold? So I came into the series believing that Moldy Milkers held an upper hand, but they just get full held on Perisu, and now all Rush Hour need to do is grab a tick, and they will claim the first map in the series, knocking Perisu out of the pool for the time being. Another hybrid map going by the wayside. This will be about I think the third hybrid map. So all Rush Hour have to do now is win one fight. They have 4 minutes to do so. If it's anything like that Logi Swords AI matchup, though, it could be a little bit more rough than that. These two teams putting on an absolute clinic here. Actually, just Rush Hour putting on an absolute clinic here. Moldy Milkers not getting much of anything started on this Perisu so far. And we could see a 1-0 coming through here for the side of Rush Hour. Very dominant team through regular season. Like I said, the only time they've fallen has been to this team. So if you win here, you're going to feel very good about the rest of the series as well as the rest of this tournament. They are the number 1 seed in their division after all, so it does make sense that they would hold a little bit of an edge, but you just think after that 3-0 they took against the squad the last time they went up against each other, that maybe history would repeat itself, but it doesn't seem to be the case today. Rush Hour full holding Moldy Milkers. Alright, we'll see how their offense goes, though. Could be a different story on offense, as we have seen before. Rhine pushing in. He's going to go very deep. Could make a similar mistake to the Doomfist that we saw earlier. So keep that in mind. He is going to get pretty deep in there. Going to bait out the hook and the pig pen. However, going to be trades, which I think that does favor Moldy Milkers a little bit. Only soldier alive against this Doom, and I think he is eventually going to fall, so Moldy Milkers holding on. However, a little less clean of a fight than we saw on the other side, so some respawns might come in here pretty quick for Rush Hour. Although eventually this team will get back, I think, so depends on how quickly these respawns can get in here. Okay, so they are going to have full strength for this next fight. Trap is still there. Someone is going. Ramachka is going to step into it. Ryan swinging on this Doom. Trades coming in. Bap, first to fall, is a good sign for Moldy Milkers. However, Kiri's going to be traded out. Doomfist is going to get pinned into a wall, and that's going to be it. It's a 2v1 on point, and I believe Ryan and Junkrat just have this. I think Hog is not going to re-engage here. Even if he did, I think his life would be forfeit. So that is going to be the 1-0 going Rush Hour's way. And this is very different than how it turned out in the regular season already. Perisu going to be out of the pool. Rush Hour with a 1-0 lead heading into the second map. Didn't even get to see the rest of the map. It's been the case with a couple of these hybrid maps. Did see a little bit more of Blizzard World when we did see it. But of course we see that map all the time. Nothing new. Alright, so the next map is going to be Castillo. I believe this one is legal, so I'm going to play it out. Yeah, I don't think it was played in the last match. So, okay, now we got to delete Perisu. Perisu, Perisu, Perisu. No more Perisu will be played in this series or any future series in this tournament unless all the maps are played. Okay. So we got Castillo here. Rush Hour versus Moldy Milkers. Rush Hour in the lead, up 1-0. The number 1 seeds are doing their part to take over these series. However, this is deathmatch. This is very different than a hybrid. It's going to be a high-octane deathmatch map, so this is going to go by very fast, as we have seen with AI and Microfish in the regular season. When they got Castillo, that game ended within like 5 minutes or so. So this could be a very hot map, very quick map. I have to do my best to spectate it here. Ryan getting low immediately. Kiri's going to get traded out, though. And Ryan going to grab that window, or bat lamp. It's going to live for a little bit longer. However, they're going to drop 2. So a 2-for-2 trade here. Soldier coming to contest this hog and the ROM. However, Junkrat's going to fall on the outside looking in. Soldier's going to go down. Good start for Moldy Milkers here. Reinhardt getting very low. He's going to get hooked and pulled in and killed. Moldy Milkers, this map looking like it's going to favor them so far with their heavy bodies. Very hard to kill them in these isolated 1v1s that happen. There's just so many tanks in deathmatch. We know how toxic it is to play tanks in deathmatch. So in a team deathmatch, it's not too much different, especially with the way they play these. Ryan charging over here, but his BAP is going to fall, so 9-2. Series could very easily flip to a 1-1 score. Doomfist's going to go down. However, it's already 3-11. Going to have to see a lot of work coming out from Rush Hour if they want to flip the script. Right, here comes Rush Hour. Going to pin into that Kiri, get the finish. Soldier going to take out the ROM, so a little bit of trades happening here for Rush Hour. Roadhog going to go down. Doomfist going to fall too, so 7-11. Ryan going to pin, but miss the Kiri. Ramatra getting absolutely shredded here. Does he go down? He will eventually fall. Reinhardt going to take out that Kiri. Soldier versus Hog here. So suddenly this lead getting evaporated by Rush Hour, and now we're almost tied. Roadhog trying to get himself out here, but he will eventually fall to the scrutiny of Soldier, BAP, and Ryan. And Ramatra is back over here. I didn't even notice he's fighting this Reinhardt. Ryan's going to pick up the Kiri, though. And for the first time ever, well, for a tiny bit on this map, Rush Hour will hold the lead, but they're going to lose it immediately to a draw again. And it's just going back and forth, blow after blow, these two teams trading blows, proving why they are top contenders in this league. Soldier on the outside, he's going to shred this Kiri a little bit. Kiri goes down, pretty low HP, however, she is able to survive. Kiri getting very low. If Soldier focuses her, it could be over. Oh, instead he doesn't. Ramatra could go down, though. Nope. Okay, so a 1-point lead grabbed here by Moldy Milkers. They're up 2 now. Rush Hour falling into a little bit of a hole. Rom going to be fighting this Ryan. Hog and Kiri going to work together. Finish him off, and 5-point lead grabbed for Moldy Milkers. You are in a good position to turn this around, but now that they're fighting in the center, a little bit of an advantage can open up for Rush Hour as the ranged threats can work, but the Ramatra ult is absolutely massive as he collects what I believe to be all 4 members of the enemy team. This is turning into a bloodbath on Castillo, so we could see a 1-1 series headed into the next map. BAP is going to fall to the Doom. Great push by him. Ramatra going to fell the Soldier 76. Ramatra going to get that Rhine too, so 27-15. Moldy Milkers are looking to tie this thing up. Kiri getting very low, however. Oh, Junkrat going to get pulled in by the Hog. And this is already 29-15, so it's looking more and more likely that this is going to be a 1-1 series heading into map 3. Um, could see a banger on our hands here, as they say. Was a 3-0 in regular season. I don't recall what maps they played on. Junkrat gonna finish off that Doom. But they're already down a good 15 kills. And the trades are still coming in here for the Moldy Milkers to keep them in the lead. So 34-17. Moldy Milkers is just doing a great job against this Rush Hour squad. Kiri's going to go down, but I don't know if that's going to matter. There's a lot of kills to make up here. And Junkrat's going to go down, so only 5 kills remain for Moldy Milkers, and they do collect on 1, so 4 will remain now. Soldier, however, and Bap working very well to kill 3 members of Moldy Milkers. But you have to do a lot of work without dropping a few of your lives. Hog is going to sacrifice a life here, so back to 4 kills. Don't know why Hog jumped off there, but he did. Junkrat going to go down here, and all of a sudden 3 kills away for Moldy Milkers. This is very likely going to be a 1-1 series headed into map 3. Bap going to fall. Soldier getting very low on the outside looking in. He will fall. Only 1 kill remaining, and Ryan is looking like he's going to be the victim. That will just be it. A 1-1. Moldy Milkers tying this series up, heading us into a map 3. This is a best of 7 set, so first to 4 will be taking the crown on this one. We are going to be heading to a Havana, so it is time to look at the maps real quick and remove Castillo from play for the time being. We will save this as the 4v4 Overbots map elimination save. So Castillo is now off, and we are headed to Havana. So an escort map, so hybrid. The series so far is a hybrid, deathmatch, and then an escort. Our hybrid did go the way of Rush Hour. Seeing if they can replicate on another payload-esque map like Havana. Very interesting map here. Is quite a long one to trudge through. So very different than that deathmatch we saw. Very quick map. Castillo over very, very quickly. Doesn't take much to end that one. Once again, Rush Hour will be on defense first. Whoever wins this one will be taking the lead in the series, going up 2-1. The loser will be a little bit on the back foot, but not quite on match point. Like not quite in danger of losing yet. So you do need to be at the 4 map win total to continue in this tournament. If you do lose, though, however, you do have a chance against Logi Swords in the lower bracket. And can make a lower bracket run. Ryan going to push out this ROM. Is eventually going to fall, though, so very good start here for Moldy Milkers. They are immediately going to win this first fight. So they're going to start pushing this payload. Moldy Milkers looking fresh and fit, in form here. Rush Hour looking a little bit staggered as they get pushed off that payload. They are going to make a re-engage here, about halfway through the point, after their little spawn camp endeavor. Ryan's going to block that hook. Bap getting very low in the back line. He's probably going to fall here. He does go down, so unfortunate trade if you are Rush Hour. However, they're going to take out the Kiri. Don't know if it's going to be enough, though. This Ryan does kind of get stuck on those stairs back there, and all you have left is this Junkrat on point. So Ryan probably going to get staggered out a bit. He will eventually go down. Junkrat's going to be quick to follow, and this will probably be the first point take by the Moldy Milkers here, as they are just slowly pushing this. Has been an excellent series so far. Very dominant Perusu, very dominant Castillo, but it went opposite directions. And Havana so far looking good for Moldy Milkers. They do have 2 fight wins under their belt. A great hook, saving his teammate there from the pin. Bap getting very low, gonna fall to the Doomfist. Junkrat Mines will pick up 1 kill. Soldier gonna pick up another, so 2-2 on the point here. Doom gonna be pinned into the wall, so it looks like Rush Hour gonna turn that fight around. With the Junkrat death mines, or death bombs, and Soldier just absolutely popping off there. They are able to win a fight. However, some ultimates online for Moldy Milkers, and they have a massive time bank to get through the second point. So, not exactly over. A big fire strike coming out from Ryan to clean up that Kiri in this 2v4, as his team is still not here. Gonna force out the Rommel. It's not exactly a bad sign here for Rush Hour, as they do force out a very impactful ult early into this next point. And they do have a big stack of ultimates of their own that they are sitting on currently, so not a horrible situation for Rush Hour. Moldy Milker's going to be rounding this corner. Rush Hour returning here. Here comes the Doom going onto that BAP. However, Junkrat, tire, huge. So even though the BAP dies to the Hog, the tire takes out 2. Flipping that fight on its head once again. Excellent use of the Rip Tire to win that fight. Rush Hour putting in solid work here on Havana. Trying to make up for a lot of lost time, as Moldy Milkers have been pushing quite uncontested thus far, but right here, right now, they have set up a pretty good defense. Big pick by the Rat. However, Ryan is very low. He could go down here. He does get that lamp, though, and instead Rom will be the one to fall, so excellent use of the lamp by the BAP there to keep his Ryan alive. Going to endure this triple tank composition a little bit longer. 2 minutes 30 on the clock. Looking difficult for Moldy Milkers to push through here. Hog coming on the outside. He is going to start back capping a little bit. Let's get a little bit more extra cart push. I'm going to push in onto this Hog. However, he's leaving his team a little bit exposed to the Doom, but the Doom does step in the trap. He is going to go down. Shatter getting essentially denied by the Kiri. 2 ults going to be popped on each side there. However, it looks like Moldy Milkers are coming out on top. Ryan does get a trade, so it is 2 versus 2 now. BAP and Ryan versus Hog and Kiri. So a tank and a support left on both sides. Does mean both these teams are kind of just like fighting tooth and nail, but not getting much ground because of the sustain available to both of them. However, Kiri going to find the pick on the BAP. Is that going to be enough? It will be, it looks like. So a re-engage coming here from Rush Hour, but they don't have much to work with. Just the Soldier, or just the Soldier BAP, Soldier and Junkrat, excuse me, because the BAP and the Rhine were already dead. So this is going to result in probably a second point take, unless there's a very fast re-engage here coming from Rush Hour. It's been an excellent series from both sides. Curious to see how this Havana goes, which side is going to take this. Ryan getting a little bit stuck. Is he going to be able to touch in time? He is not. So that is an unfortunate circumstance here for Rush Hour. However, they are going to take this fight regardless. And they do pick up the Hog pretty quickly. Rom using that ult. Probably not an excellent use of Doomfist and Rom's ult. And that will result in their quick demises. Rom still up, actually, but he's just kind of standing around. He will eventually fall. BAP kind of, I don't know if that was a little bit overzealous with the window usage there. He has been holding on to it for quite some time, though, so maybe it was okay. He's just trying to build up another one. Okay. Okay, the Ryan Shatter is here. Is he going to find some value? No, he's going to die. Don't know where the lamp was. Obviously, Bap didn't have it. And that will be the fight here for Moldy Milker. So, good things pushing here on Havana. A minute 34 on the clock to get it to this third point. It's going to be hard once you have to push through this choke. We've seen teams stall out there before. It's going to be a lot on Rush Hour to see if they can stop him before that choke, giving them an even better chance at winning. Ryan's coming in with the Shatter. Curious to see if he uses it this fight. Kiri getting very low. Going to fall to that Fire Strike. Doom going to fall to the Bap and the Hammer Swings. So, nice thing about this for Rush Hour is they do have a lot of sight lines to poke these tanks down while they're pushing in. So, this could be a difficult spot for the more tanky composition of Moldy Milkers to push, since there's such a long lane for Rush Hour to shoot down. However, Bap getting a little bit overzealous there. The more the payload moves back, the more that advantage is taken away, because Rush Hour will give up, or will try to take more space and thus take closer fights. Okay, Soldier getting very low. He is going to fall. Ryan's going to pin. Going to take off 3 members of Moldy Milkers. The Ryan pin is massive. Oh my gosh. I think there's going to be a recontest here, though. Kiri not going to... Well, maybe not. Nope, they're not going to touch. Kiri's not going to touch. So that actually will just be it. The Ryan pin... Oh my gosh! I was not expecting that on my bucket list today. Right, pinning off the map, taking 3 members of Moldy Milkers down with him. All 3 tanks. Even with the knockback resistance on the tank passive, they all are still taken off the board with that Rhine pin. That was glorious. Okay, Rush Hour have set the bar for themselves. They need to get to that third point and push it over halfway. Okay, I was not expecting that one. Whoever wins this will be going up 2-1 in this series. There is still a chance Moldy Milkers can hold them to less than 3 points. Moldy Milkers have managed to 3-0 this team before. However, right now they are tied. Both teams looking very strong in their current form. Whoever loses this will be going on to face Logie Swords and losers. And whoever wins will be going on to play AI in the winner's bracket. Best of luck to these teams. A 1-1 tied game. Great matchup so far. Bap going to be the first to fall in this fight. Not a great sign if you're Rush Hour. Kiri getting swung on, though, a little bit. I think she will fall, so not exactly terrible here if you are Rush Hour. Just not ideal either. Spawn camp is quite punishing on Havana. Kiri's going to take a little bit of time to spawn out, or to get back here, but Ryan also going to take a while to spawn, so we'll see if Kiri can make it back here for this next fight. I don't think she will. So we will see another quick fight, a 4-on-3 coming through here for Rush Hour. A little bit of an advantage. Kiri actually is going to get back in here, so Bap going to fall first, and this is looking like a little bit of a spawn camp coming through. Rom is going to fall. That is a good pick. Ryan gonna grab that Doomfist pick too, and so eventually we should see them start to push here. It is a 2-on-3 on card though, and that Hog is still alive, so he will eventually go down. So spawn camp getting value of 1 fight, almost 2 fights fully won there, but you just choke it away at the end, losing that ROM early. So we will see some movement on Havana. Going to be 1 more fight before this first checkpoint. If you are Rush Hour, you really want to win as quickly as you can on this next fight. The Rhyme Pin coming through. Gonna save his teammate from being hooked. Kiri getting very low. Bap also low on the other side, though. He's gonna find some cover, though. Just gonna provide him a neat little advantage, but he does eventually lose his Rhine. So a 2-on-3, but there's 2 tanks on the board for the side of Moldy Milkers. Only Doom now is very low, but he does get that Meteor Strike. Is he going to fall, though? I think he is still going to fall. So 3-on-1. Hog, the last member alive. He is going to get absolutely melted by this window. Kiri coming back, but it might be a little ill-advised. She does back off for the time being. You got 3 ultimates online for Rush Hour to cap off this point. Try not to give Moldy Milkers another fight here. They are looking to re-engage, but I don't think they're going to grab it, and that will be a first point take here for Rush Hour. So here comes the obligatory, you took the point, let's fight now. Fight. That seems to happen all the time in Overbots. Okay, Doom getting very low. He's going to get rip-tired. It's kind of toxic by the... I feel like he could have just like thrown a grenade and mined him maybe, but no, he decides to pull out the rip tire and absolutely punish the Doom for no reason. Okay. Gonna see... Oh, Rom. Uh-oh. This is not good. You don't want to see your Rom doing this. It's probably going to result in him just feeding, yes. So, some more ultimate percentage will be given over to that Rat and the Baptiste. However, some ults built up on the side of Moldy Milkers. They got that Hog ult. They got the Rom ult. Can they make something happen with this? Soldier going to get hooked. Missing the shots on that Soldier. He's going to start pushing forward here. Kiri going to get pinned into the wall and immediately go down. Hog getting very low. Doomfist also very low. Gonna fall. Hog almost takes out the Soldier, but he does maintain his life, and only Rom left here, so if he decides to pop this ult, it could be massive, but no. Okay, that was maybe a little bit overzealous from me, so Rush Hour will continue pushing this thing forward. And I think they're going to grab checkpoint before we can see a recontest, but we'll follow Moldy Milkers to make sure that is the case. I don't think they're going to be able to touch in time, especially with 3 on the cart there. Hog trying to get as close as you can, but not going to quite make it. So there will be an obligatory fight after you take the point. Once again, Rom immediately popping that ult. Is going to find this BAP very early, so this is looking like a Moldy Milkers win, although trades happening. Okay, nope. The trades are going to favor the Rom squad as he pops that ultimate. Hog finding the Rhine. Rush Hour will make another attempt at this point. Ryan gonna charge in, killing that Hog. Okay, Rush Hour just absolutely dissecting Moldy Milkers here on this Havana. Looking forward to continue pushing. Rom getting very low. He's the last one up. He's probably going to die here, and suddenly this is looking like they could just win it right here, right now. As I said, since they stopped them before that choke, it is a lot more winnable for your squad because now you have this long sight line to work with, and I don't even think they're going to be able to touch. So this is just going to be a 2-1 lead for Rush Hour, more than likely. And actually, wait, here comes the touch. Roadhog will get there. Okay, I was wrong. Forgive me. Oh, I was right. So they get C9 by the Rhine pin. Rhine really coming in clutch here for his squad, getting a triple kill, basically to secure Havana. My word. What a great showing from Rush Hour. Up 2-1 in this series, a series that they previously lost 3-0, so looking considerably different than the last time these two teams faced off. We will be heading to a map 4 here. Horizon Lunar Colony. Okay, so another death match. The series is now 1-1. And I got to remove Havana from the map pool here. So that'll be our third escort map deleted. And we are moving on to another death match. Okay. So as we've seen before, this map type seems to favor Moldy Milkers. So you gotta feel good about rolling into this one. You might be able to tie this thing up 2-2. Alright, here we go. Bap going to be the first one to fall in this deathmatch map. Soldier going to go down next, and this is looking very good for Moldy Milkers so far. They are down 2-1 in this series. However, deathmatch has seemed to be where they have created the most separation between them and Rush Hour. They seem to be able to win on these maps pretty consistently so far. At least the first one they did win, and here they are already in the lead by 5 points. Soldier getting hounded, gonna be taken down by the Ramatra. Ryan gonna pin in, but he's missing his pin on that hog, and that's not what you want to see here. Up 7-1 already. Probably gonna be 8-1 pretty soon here, as Ryan is getting very low. He will eventually fall. Bap trying to pick up this Kiri, but he does. So he is able to heal his squad and kill the Kiri. Doom getting very low, so they're able to trade that out. However, it is still a 9-3 advantage for Moldy Milkers. A great start to this deathmatch map. Soldier and Bap working together to try to dissect this hog, and they eventually do. However, Bap's going to fall, making the 6-point lead. It's probably going to turn to a 5-point lead here, though. Oh, never mind. Ram getting out with his life there is going to mean Soldier might die here. Kiri could die. Yeah, Doom. Okay, Ryan does get, so it's going to be a 7-point lead. Going to be an 8-point lead after they finish this Ryan off. So, oh, now a 9-point lead because Bap is here. Okay. Moldy Milkers putting on a clinic on these deathmatch maps. Really have been saving them in the series here so far, as they've lost both the Hybrid and the Escort. We haven't seen a Koth in this series yet. Deathmatch looking very strong for Moldy Milkers, though. Ryan going to be fighting this Rom very low on that side. He is going to fire strike him, so going to cut the deficit to 8, but it's still such a large number to make up. This is already looking heavily in favor of Moldy Milkers. They do have this hog on the outside. Rush Hour does, so they might be able to finish this off, and they do. So cut that down to 7. But it's going to go right back up to 8. And the huge Rommel is coming through, and that's going to pick off Soldier. Bap also falling. Means this point is going to be a 10 different as the Rhine falls. And Junkrat is going to fall. Make it an 11-point difference. And this is just getting out of hand here on Horizon Lunar Colony. Kiri getting very low. She is able to TP out, though. Soldier going to fall to the Roadhog. He's pushing up on this Bap. Gonna grab the hook, but instead denied. Ryan pushes in. Gonna swing on the Ramatra here, but he's gonna fall. And this lead just extends farther. It is a 13-point lead currently for Moldy Milkers. And if they take out this Soldier, it is going to be a 14-1 and a 15 as the Junkrat falls. Only 15 kills remain for Moldy Milkers, and they have such a big lead. I can't imagine them giving this up. Reinhardt going to fall to the spam of the tanks. The Bap going to fall to the Ramatra all alone. 27, 18-point difference now, as Rush Hour is getting rooted by this Moldy Milkers tank core on the deathmatch. The Rhine Pin coming through is going to get punished for it. Hog and Ramatra pushing out this Bap. Only need 10 more kills to secure a 2-2 series. Soldier actually picking up that Doom while he's fighting for his life over there. But he will eventually go down. Here comes the Riptire. If it gets some value, maybe... Oh, it doesn't quite get the ROM. He does back off just enough to survive. Hog getting very low, though. He will fall. So, lead still, like, 19? Oh, my word. So, not 19 anymore. Now it's 6... Wait. Not 16 either. It's actually 18. 18. Okay. Doomfist able to pick up the Bap. Extending this to another 19-point difference. It's just brutal here. That is a 20-point difference on the board. Moldy Milker's going to take away this map. This is going to be 2-2 heading into map 5. As both these teams are just clawing at the maps that they have advantages on. Striking back and forth. Soldier going to take out the ROM, but it's too little too late. There's only 3 kills remaining here for Moldy Milkers. They have all the advantages they need. Taking out that soldier, Kiri's going to be finding herself in a 1v3, which isn't ideal for her, but she does force out that Rhine pin and get out with her life. So, Doom, very low. He is going to fall, but only 2 kills needed for Moldy Milkers. I just can't see a world in which they make up this deficit. 1 kill remaining here, and this will secure the map for Moldy Milkers. 2-2 heading into map 5. If this was a 3-map series, this would be the deciding map. However, it is a 7-map series, or 3, so 4 to win. Sorry. If you need 3 to win, it would be the final decider for this next one. But instead, we will go after. We will continue going. Each team are going to be vying to put themselves on match point now on New Queen Street. So an interesting map, a little bit of a hybrid between deathmatch and these payload maps we've been seeing. So we'll see how this one goes. This one could be interesting. It will be one of the only, there's only 4 push maps, so this is a rare find in a series. New Queen Street. Gonna have to erase Horizon Lunar Colony from the deathmatch board. There are so many deathmatch maps, but only so few that we actually play on. So let me look through these real quick. Horizon. There it is. Okay, so that one will be turned off for the remainder of the time here. And it is a 2-2 series. Currently, no one holding the lead. Rush Hour winning both Parisu. Very dominant fashion. Havana was a lot closer. And on the other side, Moldy Milker is able to pick up the Castillo and the Horizon Lunar Colony. Both the deathmatch maps going their way. And both the payload-orientated maps going the way of Rush Hour. So now we are headed to another payload-esque map, but also kind of similar to deathmatch in the way that it can get really chaotic at times with how these maps are laid out. So I think this could really favor either squad. It's going to be a law on who wins this first and second fight. As we have seen, both these teams have been matching up quite well against each other. Despite that 3-0 in regular season, you have to wonder if it was a map pool differential that favored Moldy Milkers in that one. Whatever they rolled into must have just been a stark advantage for that squad. But here, it's telling a different story a bit. Very close matchup we have here. Moldy Milkers coming out. Rush Hour already to the push bot here. So we're going to see a very quick fight breaking out. Doomfist going in kind of deep. He doesn't get any value. He's on the BAP though. BAP struggling. He doesn't get the lamp out. He will fall, but Kiri's going to fall on the opposite side. Doomfist is going to be the next to fall. So these are the trades happening. Rhine very low. However, he does manage to live. Soldier and Junk putting in work, and that'll be a first point. Well, not first point, but a first fight win for Rush Hour. As they will begin moving this thing. And this next fight is going to be really important for the pace of this map. If Moldy Milkers can come in and win this next one, you won't be in the worst position. But if you lose this next one, the momentum is going to really start to weigh heavily on you if you are Moldy Milkers. Alright, here we go. Rhine somehow getting the pin through the push bot. Killing off that Kiri is not an ideal start for Moldy Milkers, and they're going to lose their Doom here too, it looks like. Oh, actually the Hog goes down first. And losing that second fight, that is a really good sign for Rush Hour. Not so great of a sign for Moldy Milkers, as now the momentum is so heavily in favor of Rush Hour. It's going to be very difficult to overcome this early advantage. Winning the first 2 fights in push. Those are 2 of the most important fights in push. because it means you will have a lot of map control, you'll have spawn advantage, and you just have the momentum and ults. So many advantages go your way when you start a series off this strong. Kiri going to be the first to fall. Bap going to follow close behind. The Shatter does get the Doom. Here comes the ult from the Soldier. He is getting kind of denied by this Hog, but he will survive on 1 HP in a Dream. So the Hog ult not doing enough there to keep the Soldier off him. And 3 fights back-to-back going in favor of Rush Hour means this is going to be very difficult to retake if you are Moldy Milkers. Big pin coming out from Ryan. Going to pick up that Kiri immediately again. However, he is going to fall in trades. 2-for-2 trade here. Here comes the Doomfist ult. It does bring the Soldier down to half. Only a Junkrat on the table here for Rush Hour. They will get a little bit of extra push progress as Doomfist steps off. But eventually, Moldy Milkers will win a fight in this New Queen Street. They aren't quite going... Well, they will eventually make it to push this payload, I think. Push the push barrier, but... I don't think... Actually, maybe not. It may get stopped before... Nope. Okay, so yeah, it does get stopped right before they take the spawn advantage, actually. Here comes the Rom ult. Gonna find that BAP immediately is a good start for Moldy Milkers, so winning this fight does mean you'll probably be able to get that push barrier about halfway or even more towards the checkpoint. We'll see. So you can run this back still if you are Moldy Milkers. Off of those 2 fight wins. Rush Hour taking a little bit of time to regroup here, but this is really the fight that's going to matter here. If you win this, you will get the checkpoint yourself, and this will be a lot closer of a matchup for you. Momentum, however, could swing drastically here depending on who gets the first pick. Okay, so trades will happen for the first pick, and the Junkrat tire is absolutely massive. So only Ryan and Junkrat left on one side. However, Ryan is very low, and I think Rom is going to win that. So Junkrat is taking the payload away, though. Going to be contesting the Rom for this point. Ooh, getting Rom very low. Soldier's going to come up behind him. Soldier's going to finish the job, and oh, that really hurts if you're Moldy Milker. So very stressful fight that broke down at the end there. Junkrat versus Rom on point will result in the Rom eventually falling as the Soldier comes to pressure as well. However, you will get a fight here. 3-on-3. A huge BAP window to finish off that Doom. Kiri's probably going to go down here. She does. Hog alone on this point. Getting hounded by a BAP, a Junkrat, and a Soldier is not exactly ideal. And it does mean the spawn advantage will indeed go in favor of Rush Hour again. So they are very close to going up to match point against this Moldy Milker squad. Has been a match fought tooth and nail. Both deathmatch maps going the way of Moldy Milkers. And all 3 of the payload maps so far looking to favor the Rush Hour. Doomfist getting low. Oh, Junkrat and BAP working very well together. And that is going to secure another fight win here. They have 3 alive on this cart, and they're just going to keep pushing forward. I think we might see a map completion. So a very dominant New Queen Street looking to come out from this Rush Hour squad, as yes, they do complete the map. So a 3-2 lead for Rush Hour. They only need 1 more map to secure the series. That does mean this push map will be gone from the map pool. Oh, what happened to mine? Oh boy, what's happening? Okay, good. Temple of Anubis, so another death match. That is a good sign. If you are Moldy Milkers, you might be able to bring this to map 5 here. So that means we are going to have to turn off one of the push maps. New Queen Street going to be off for the remainder of this tournament. And we will be going to another deathmatch. So pretty much all the deathmatches being used up in this series between Moldy Milkers and Rush Hour. A lot of them being used here, as Moldy Milkers will get their third deathmatch. So a chance to tie this series up at 3 apiece, sending us to a map 7. Already, spoiler alert, already our second map 7 in this tournament is shaping up to be an excellent one here. Let's see though, if Moldy Milkers can convert on this deathmatch. They have in the previous two showings, excuse me. They have shown that they have been able to beat this team on the deathmatch maps quite convincingly. So we'll see if Temple of Anubis can keep that pattern up for them. Doomfist going to get on this Bap very early. The Rhyme Pin not finding much of anything. Bap getting very low. Hog and Kiri going to be working on him, finishing him off. And Ryan going to lose that 1v1. All the fights going the way of Moldy Milkers, and this is a continuation of what we've seen on these deathmatch maps. Getting 3 of them in this series has been a great boon for Moldy Milkers, as it has, as have the payload maps been for Rush Hour. Wonder if it's going to really decide on who gets that last map in their favor. Maybe a Koth. It'd be fun to end it on a Koth, because I don't know who's going to win that. Soldier going to go down, and Rhine. An 8-point so a 7-point difference. 8 points already for Moldy Milkers on this deathmatch. This is their map type, it seems. However, using this many in this series means you're not going to have them in future series against other teams, so have to be a little bit wary of that. Soldier fighting this Rom tooth and nail. He will eventually fall, but put up such a great effort. Already 10-7 here. Moldy Milkers just doing what they do best on this map type. Proving that this is the map type where they beat Rush Hour. Soldier and Hog fighting in the small room. It will result in the lead being cut into a little bit here by Rush Hour. They're going up. Only a 4-point lead now for Moldy Milkers, so a little bit of a lapse in judgment, a little bit of lapse in these fights, and all of a sudden, Rush Hour back into this one. They only need to win like one more fight, and this thing could flip. The Rip Tire going to be denied. Here comes the Doom. He is in there, however, Kiri's going to get very low, probably going to get killed here. Yeah, she will eventually go down to that Bap, so trades here favoring Rush Hour. They're actually giving themselves a chance on this Temple of Anubis. However, Reinhardt and Soldier falling does mean the lead will maintain basically at the last possible second here for Moldy Milkers. Doomfist going in onto this Junkrat, going to get him half. Does get hooked. However, Bap just doing his absolute darndest to keep this guy alive, and he's actually going to find the Hog. But the Rommel, too powerful, keeping Moldy Milkers in the lead in this one. Rush Hour versus Moldy Milkers have been, this matchup has been absolutely spectacular. The showings we've seen from both these teams on separate maps have been great. Moldy Milkers proving to be a dominant squad in these deathmatch maps, while Rush Hour have been proving to be better in the more team-orientated ones thus far. Bap gonna fall, Soldier gonna fall. Ryan gonna pin in, but not find much. He's probably going to go down here. A 20-9 lead for Moldy Milkers. They only need 20 more kills to secure a map 7 in their first series, and whoever loses is going to be sent to face the Logie Swords in losers. Rush Hour just getting absolutely routed on this map. Once again, deathmatch proving to be the bane against this team. It's hard to beat Moldy Milkers on a deathmatch map. When you're 1v1s, you're just so outmatched with health pools if you're in a 1v1 on a deathmatch here. So Doomfist will fall, but still a 13-point lead for Moldy Milkers. Kiri going to get picked up by the Rhine, so going to shorten that lead to 12. Rom actually getting a little bit diffed by this Rhine. However, he does get help. Doomfist going to fall on the back. 11-point lead. Here comes the Riptide. Probably going to find this Rom. At least going to bring him down low. He is very low on the back. He's probably going to fall to a little bit more pressure. Although they don't put enough pressure on him. And all of a sudden... Well, it's a 10-point. It's 10 points. So the Kiri didn't actually do that much. I thought she was going to help get value. But Hog might finish these. Oh, Doom's going to finish these. Okay, actually the lamp comes out at a good time to help save his friend there. And it's being shortened to a 10-point lead. So Rush Hour putting in some work here, trying to come back. Just so tough to come back against this Moldy Milker squad on their forte, on these deathmatch maps. I think Rom is going to fall eventually, but 27-18, a 9-point difference is what you have to make up here if you're Rush Hour, and it is looking very winnable for Moldy Milkers. 7-point lead though now. Some trades favoring Rush Hour here, so however it's going to go back up to 8, well, 7. Okay, so it's still 7 because of the Rom dying. Almost up to 30 kills, almost 10 kills away from sending us to a map 7, our Moldy Milkers. However, Soldier able to find that Doom. Trying to bring his team back into this. It's just really difficult when the lead is already so much favoring Moldy Milkers. Junkrat getting very low. Just backing off. He is going to find that health pack, so he will live for a little moment longer. He is going to get hounded by this Doom, though. He's going to be brought very low and killed, so only 8 kills left here for the side. Wow, big pin coming out on that Doom, but here comes the Ramach roll, and it's pretty massive. Does help to finish off that BAP. Only 7 kills remain on the side of Moldy Milkers. However, Ryan able to pick up 2 as that Kiri goes right into his hammer. Ramatra and Junkrat fighting here. Only 6 kills remain for one squad. However, that lead has been reduced to about 7 again. Now, 7. Could be reduced farther by this BAP window. The BAP window is kind of massive. The tire even more massive. So now it is only a 4-point lead. Rush Hour giving them a chance on a deathmatch for the first time. This is the closest deathmatch we've seen from them against this squad. So they do have a lifeline. They do have a hope to end this on a map 6. Soldier gonna fall immediately though. Very good engage. Only 4 kills needed now. BAP taking out 2 though. Trying to keep his squad in this, but they only need 4 kills. If they can find one of these kills at the end of this fight, it's going to hurt a lot. If you are Rush Hour, BAP is going to fall. Junkrat's going to go down. Only 2 kills remain, and they're right here for the taking. If only they can convert on them. Rhine getting very low. He is going to fall. Only Soldier left, and that will be it. We are headed to a map 7 once again. So 2 map 7s back-to-back. If you didn't... Okay, so at this point, go watch the other series. If you don't already know, I'm going to spoil it right here. Logi Swords did, in fact, lose that one. And we had our first ever draw, like I said earlier. So it did go to 7 maps, but it was a 4-2 score line because of that draw. However, Logi Swords put up a heck of a fight on some maps. But that will... mean we are going to Route 66, and this is a good sign for Rush Hour. You have been winning on all the payload maps, so you just have to win on one more payload map to secure your spot in winners. So we're going to turn off Temple of Anubis. That is no longer a viable deathmatch map. And one map to decide the whole fate of this series is going to be Route 66. We have already played 6 maps, all 3 death matches going the way of Moldy Milkers. On the flip side, every time we have locked into a hybrid payload, or I guess now push, it has been going the way of Rush Hour, so all they have to do is secure one more escort, and they will have this series in lock and key, and they will be going to that upper bracket final, not the grand final, but the upper bracket final, where they will face AI. Whoever loses that will then be sent to the lower bracket final. and they will face the team that wins between Logi Swords and whoever loses this series, whether it be Rush Hour or Logi Swords. So whoever wins that will move on to the losers final as well. And then we will have the grand final will be the winner of the loser final and the winner final converging. And if the losers final victor wins a best of 7, we will do a second best of 7 set for the bracket reset. That extra life being from the winners final is going to be a huge advantage in that series. All right, here we go. Doomfist going to help stagger this Rhine a little bit. He is getting lamps though, so going to maintain his life for a little bit longer. He is eventually going to fall though, so good little push coming out from the Moldy Milkers to start. Junkrat able to take out the Doom. Rom and Hog going to start moving this payload forward. So the best of 7 is going to be 7 maps. Those deathmatch making this series feel a lot shorter since how fast those maps go. I can't complain too much though, because we have had some very long. We had a very long Havana. The push map wasn't too long either. Rush Hour was able to dominate on that one pretty well, and neither was Perisu. Kind of dominant by Rush Hour on that one too. All right, so the trades favoring Rush Hour here, a 2-for-1 trade. Ramatra will be the next to fall. Only Hog alive. Getting this Rhine very low. He will eventually fall to the pig pen, but being the last one up, he's probably going to fall to the Junkrat and the Soldier combo here. And he does manage to pick up one. Okay, so he's soloing right now. So they are able to push through here. A good push by Moldy Milkers. Hog pretty much soloing the entirety of Rush Hour on his own. Why he is that #1 draft pick overall this season in this triple tank squad. Here comes Rush Hour once again. Here comes the Hog ult. Doomfist getting stuck in the trap. However, the Rhyme Pin coming out massive here. He's going to pull that Hog all the way back. Doom going to be the first to fall. Bap getting very low. However, he is managing to live. Kiri and Hog getting kind of zoned out here a little bit. So a little bit of a hold started here for Rush Hour on the back of like 1 kill. So good stuff here from Rush Hour. I guess there were 2 kills. My bad. Okay. Roadhog getting down very low. He does have that damage resistance. However, he is going to fall. The Rommel's coming out. The Doomfist ult coming out. And they have a chance at winning this still. Junkrat's going to fall. Yeah, they did it. Doomfist getting 3 in that fight. Maybe even 4. I didn't really check carefully enough. We are not on the payload, though. Moldy Milkers making a little bit of a lapse in judgment here, especially on a map 7. Your lives are on the line for this winner bracket. You really should be pushing this payload. You don't want to give Rush Hour an extra fight here. You might have, though, because you're not very far, and Rush Hour is already on the way back. So it looks like Rush Hour is probably going to get a 3rd fight, even if they lose right here, but they are picking off the Doom, so looking pretty strong here for Rush Hour on this Route 66. As the payload maps have looked much stronger for them than the deathmatch. And vice versa. It's looked a lot weaker for Moldy Milkers. I'm going to be able to pull up that soldier, but he's instead just going to get launched back by who knows what. Was it that the Helix? Did the Helix literally just launch him that far? Because that was crazy. Okay. Anyways. Hog able to live through all that. Kiri's going to go down immediately to a pin, though. Bap getting low. However, he's able to be sustained by the help from the squad. Lamp's going to come out. Hog getting very low. He's going to fall to the soldier. Bap going to go down to the pig pen, and it is a 2v2 on point. Rhine and Soldier against Doom and Rom. However, Rom not getting too involved yet. Kiri's going to be back here, so not a great sign for Rush Hour. They are going to be able to maybe kill this Doom before he goes down. No, he doesn't. 1 HP in a dream. Doom able to survive through the Rein oppression. However, like I said before, since you didn't push the payload early and often enough, after that first tango, you now are probably going to have to do another fight. So there's probably going to be, yeah, like I said, there's going to be like 3 fights on this point that you have to win as Moldy Milkers. They've already won 1, and they have to win, and they've already won 2 actually, and so this is the 3rd one. If they win this, I think they're going to get it in though, and it looks like they are. So they've already taken the trades. Trades have been favorable for them here. Rein, the last member of Rush Hour, alive, and he will eventually fall to the Moldy Milker squad. They're going to continue pushing this thing all the way in. So they will be on this last checkpoint. They have 2 minutes and about a half, a little bit under a half actually, to get this thing through to the finish line. We will see probably another fight pretty early here into the point. Yep, Rein is getting right in there. He's contesting immediately. Soldier on the high ground, jumping on down. Going to get on this Kiri, going to get the aggro on the Kiri, but Bap is going to be the first to fall, so it looks like Rush Hour are going to collapse a little bit here at the end of this point, and got to be concerned if you're Rush Hour. This is not an area where you really want to be fighting. This map 3, or this 3rd point on Route 66, seems like it could be a little rough. There is a long sightline down here, though, so maybe that could help you as you try to re-engage. Maybe you can get some picks before you even get to the payload. There is a lack of urgency from Moldy Milkers as they are not pushing this payload very well, though. Alright, here come the Rush Hour. They are going to try to make another fight happen. So it's probably going to be 3 fights that they need to win here. Moldy Milkers, again, so they've already won 1. They need to win this one and another one, but this one is going Rush Hour's way, so Rush Hour probably need to win 2 fights themselves to secure this map. So next team to win 2 fights is probably going to win, and that is a 1-team fight for Moldy Milkers. They're going to start pushing this thing, I think. So that's what you need. You need 1 more fight, and you can probably push this thing all the way in, depending on how much payload progress you get. If you don't get enough here, okay, you will get enough. So you will finish this map as long as you win this next fight. 40 seconds on the clock. Rush Hour is coming in with their ultimates. This might be the first time we see Moldy Milkers complete an escort map against Rush Hour here today, which is not an ideal situation to be in on the final map for Rush Hour. However, they do clean up that Doom. Only 20 seconds left, so it could very well still not be a map completion here. Rein getting very low, though. Rom putting in some work. Kiri's back. Is Rom gonna... oh, Kiri's gonna die here. Oh, Kiri gets hopped up to the high ground. She's dodging and weaving. Can she live? No, she can't. We're not gonna see a touch either, so at the very end of the final point is where Moldy Milkers will end their push, and that is going to have to be good enough for them if they want to win this series. So you got to feel pretty good about that if you are Rush Hour. You did eventually hold them when it did look like they were kind of dominating you through the first couple points. As you can see from the stat line, it does seem like a lot of the value coming from Moldy Milkers. It seems like there's a lot more value coming from Moldy Milkers at the moment, but they just aren't able to push it over the finish line because of how well Rush Hour was able to stall, and some fights that were taken, some extra fights given over by Moldy Milkers because they just refuse to push the payload sometimes. Either way, Moldy Milkers can still very easily win this map. They just have to hold on first or second point, or even on third point before the box of victory. Rush Hour, on the other hand, are looking to win so many fights back-to-back as quickly as they can to try to give themselves the best possible chance at winning this final escort map being played in the series. We've had Havana played. We've had a hybrid Paris Suppled, and now, so a 2 escort series coming out in a 3 deathmatch series. So far, these escort maps have favored Rush Hour, but that was a very decent push coming out from Moldy Milkers. So if Ryan is charging like that, that's not a great sign. Fire Strike is pretty massive, though. He does get a massive cleave. Gonna be able to trade out that Kiri and the Rom and the Doom. Soldier making it happen here. So the spawn camp will be fought through pretty early. This Roadhog is probably going to just stagger out here. He will go down. And we immediately have some cart push going through here, but I don't think Moldy Milkers are going to contest very quickly. They're going to need... They're probably going to get about 3 fights out of this point. I'd say if Rush Hour continues pushing the way they have, probably only 2 fights on the second point for Moldy Milkers. Actually, this might just be 2 fights, depending on how well this fight goes. Okay, so that, not a good sign for the side of... Okay, Soldier taking out 3. So just the Soldier and the Rhine left here, but Rhine hitting a massive pin. Soldier and Rhine working together, trying to secure this point. They do finish off the Hog. Soldier just doing absolute work, killing 3 members. All 4 members falling to the Soldier as he just pops off. What a king. Meaning that they are going to push this thing in, so there will only be 2 fights on this first point, realistically. Like, that was only 2 fights, really. So Rush Hour so far getting much better value out of their fights, pushing this payload early and often after they win one. And Soldier just putting on a show here on Route 66. Great Rhine pin coming through, finishing off that ROM early. Kiri getting low in the back line. Bap saving his Junkrat. Kiri's going to die. Huge shatter coming through from this Rhine. Going to target this Doom down and shred. Both the Hog and Doom are falling, and the payload is already moving, so I think there's only going to be 2 fights on this as well, as long as they stay on this payload, as well as they have been. They only have 1 on cart right now, though. They will get around that bend, I think. So yeah, I think this is only a 2-fight point, especially with how well Rush Hour have been maintaining control over this. Here comes the Riptire. It is going up the stairs. Gonna drop down. Kiri gonna be the first to fall. The tire getting on the ROM, but not able to detonate. He will destroy it. He's gonna finish off this. Oh, never mind. Ryan surviving somehow, and instead, ROM will be the one falling to the Junkrat spam. And the second fight going very handily in the way of Rush Hour. They're going to continue pushing this payload. And this map 7 was looking somewhat winnable for Moldy Milkers. Oh, they do get off the payload, so maybe they'll give him another fight. We'll see. Remains to be seen. No, I think it will just barely go in. Ryan, what are you doing? You absolute mad lad. Okay, so Rush Hour has 4 minutes on the clock. They don't have to push it very far on this third point. However, I think this third point does favor Moldy Milkers, so this could be very strange. Although Roadhog, man, he just got shredded. Doomfist also stuck in a trap. He's going to die too, so this fight is very rough for Moldy Milkers. Not a great start at all. Doom and Hog falling immediately. Rom and Kiri are just going to try to back out, but you really have to get something started here because you only have... Well, you have a ton of time you have to bleed off this clock. And you don't have much space that you can give if you are Moldy Milkers. So this is looking like it's going to be a 4-3 in favor of Rush Hour in a dramatic display. Here comes one last fight for Moldy Milkers. However, Hog immediately down. Kiri down next. And that will just be it. Our team, Rush Hour, is going to be headed to the next match, the winners final, against none other than their rival from the other side, AI. That side they did beat that team in regular season. However, as we saw here, Rush Hour did get defeated by Moldy Milkers in regular season, and now they have completed a 4-3 revenge match. I'm losing my words. What a series we had here today. We had 3 deathmatch maps, all going the way of Moldy Milkers. Every single payload map went the opposite way. We didn't see any Koth or Flashpoint. We didn't see any of those like type of maps, so we don't know how that goes. Didn't get the opportunity to see any of those maps. That will remove that map from the pool. They were playing en route. So another escort will be removed from the pool. And Moldy Milkers will go down to loser's bracket. That'll be our next matchup between Moldy Milkers and Logie Swords. I'm probably just going to leave them right where they are at the moment. Our two seeds are in the position that we predicted they'd be. If I had to make a prediction for this next match, I would say it's probably going to be Moldy Milkers winning. But we play the matches for a reason. Logie Swords put up quite a good fight against AI, so we'll have to see if they can do the same to Moldy Milkers here.